Sounds good to me.
Perfection.
All right.
Going, get the announcements done, and get the good interview on.
There we go. Okay, so Joel, I'm gonna hit you up here in just a few minutes after we do our intros. We're gonna go live here in just a second.
Get the good interview on.
That's fine.
There we go. Okay, so Joel, I'm gonna hit you up here. All right. Oh, exactly 7 o'clock. That. And we're gonna be.
It's almost like we
Oh,
knew
we're
exactly
minutes
what we're doing.
late. There we go, guys.
We are live.
You want to fix the video here?
Do I want to fix it? That's the question.
You're better at it. And pull up our OBS that way.
I'm pretty sure you should fix it.
I just have. Oh, there. That was simple.
Perfect. There we go.
Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting edition of Vanishing Gates. As always, I am your host Jay, and with me is
The excited Jack.
Excited Jack. That's frightening. And this guy here,
Fuck.
Baco. So guys, let's go right into the cigar of the show. Tonight's cigar is a delicious El Baton Double Ligero. Quite delicious. I enjoy it for furiously.
Furiously?
I don't know. Is that a word?
Thoroughly.
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 That's-
I think that's a good word.
I'm still suffering from that sunburn.
Yes.
So, guys, it's I've said it before. We're getting close to that Halloween season, and you know what that means. People are starting to get their decorations in order. They're doing their haunted houses. I know I have been. This set here is only a small amount of what I have. Believe me, I have many, and we want to do the Vanishing Gates yard haunt this year.
Are we gonna dress up for Halloween this
We
year?
are dressing up for Halloween. We're gonna have a Vanishing Gates Halloween party, I think. It won't be on Halloween because it's a Tuesday, but the Saturday prior.
I think we should do a contest too with all the viewers. They should
Send us their costumes,
Yeah.
their best Vanishing Gate host costume.
That'd be awesome,
That'd be terrible.
dude. That'd be awesome.
That'd be
I
terrible.
might actually wear the banana hammock.
No, you're not. We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about the goose cow.
All right, so. Oh, man. Anyway, being that it's almost Halloween, you guys, when you're setting your decorations up, one of the best decoration sources you can find is Cotton Studios, our buddy Jason Glenn. He makes some of the coolest designs, and you guys got to check him out on his Facebook page, Cotton Studios, and give him some love. Tell him Vanishing Gates sent you. So we got a few things coming up in the next few weeks I want to give you guys a heads up on.
Do we really?
We do. We don't have anything yet for the 29th, which is next weekend. But we're working on something. I think I have something good in the works. We haven't got there yet. On August 5th, we have Emily from Mystic Rose Tarot. She's actually going to be in studio to do a live tarot reading for our viewers. And yeah, so guys, show up for that. Invite some friends to watch, and feel free to pop in with questions, and she'll give you a tarot reading.
That'd be amazing.
That'll be pretty awesome. And then yeah, we're going to skip ahead a little bit because I got a couple things that I got to double check on. But on August 26th, we have Jordan from the Nighttime Podcast coming on to talk about Oak Island.
All right. That's
You know,
gonna
I'm
be a
excited
fun
about that.
episode.
I am
I've always
too.
been curious about Oak Island.
I have a strong love for Oak Island. You know, I watched the show Oak Island, and I've done a lot of research on it myself.
There is a show called Oak Island.
Yeah, there is.
The
there
Curse
is.
of Oak Island.
Yeah, it is awesome, dude.
Actually,
It is
if you
really-
guys want to
really
do some
good.
Oak Island research to get ready for that episode, go check out Jordan's podcast, the Nighttime Podcast.
Mhm.
And he did like a 3 or 4 part series
He really did.
all on Oak
yeah.
Island, and he always does a great job of this stuff. He's one of the nicest guys. So that'll be a good little thing, a good little event.
So what you're saying here is I should actually, for once,
Do some research.
I
Your
still
job.
don't know what this is. I'm gonna have to learn. I'm gonna have to look at a dictionary to find out what that means. I'm pretty sure it's dangerous, though.
For
Pretty sure.
you, it probably would turn to be
Would
dangerous.
wind up hurting myself at least twice.
Most definitely.
All right, guys, so another thing I want to say is don't forget to like and follow and to share the show right now, but like and follow the page as well and tell your friends about us because that does us a huge deal.
It really does.
The word of mouth is really how we've been spreading, and we really appreciate all the likes and shares.
Definitely. Thank you, David, for that share. And we aren't
Yep,
too
thank
we
you.
aren't too proud to pander. That's
We are never too
that is
proud to
clear.
pair.
A clear and definite thing.
Clear and definitive part of
Yes.
who we are
Definitive
as your
thing.
source for the unexplained and the paranormal. Anyway, so speaking of the paranormal and the supernatural, we have a couple guests on tonight, and we have Joel and Sage from the Virginia Beach. Let's see if I can actually say it this time. The Virginia Beach Supernatural Research Society. Hey guys, how's it going?
Doing well, guys. How about you? Okay.
Doing good. Extremely hot today, though, in here.
It's very hot, and we live on the beach too. You know, it's like West Coast. You know, like normally it's probably like I think it's been like high as 70s, but it's so hot. 70 is so hot nowadays.
It is 64 right now.
Oh my gosh,
That's
that's
too
too
hot for
horrible.
me.
That is way
So,
horrible.
all right. Let's bring it back. So, why don't you guys tell the viewers a little bit about your organization and a little bit about yourselves and how you came into this and what interests you in the paranormal and the supernatural?
Okay, well, again, my name is Joel. I am an ex-law enforcement officer, and I guess what got me into this uh, paranormal investigation was the fact that there had been times when I would go out on calls as a police officer, be inside a home that claimed there was someone roaming around, rummaging through things, and then end up to find nothing there, absolutely nothing. Windows, doors, everything locked tight, no sign of attempted forced entry at all. So from that, down through the years, I always thought about it. And then about 2 years ago, I thought, well, it's time to maybe pander the thought of putting one together because it kind of intrigued me a little bit. So it just started out to be my son and I, who presently is actually sitting here with me. His name is Alex. He's 17 years of age.
Awesome.
He's a sophomore in high school. So he's been my junior investigator, and the team actually started out as JC Paranormal Investigations. But because of the fact I wanted to expand the team to a larger, to include several others, I thought, well, I better come up with more of a generic name. So I began looking around, seeing who had what names. We came up with the Virginia Beach Supernatural Research. And with that in mind, then I went ahead and started building up the team. Unfortunately, there's only 3 of us here available tonight. My lead investigator, Emily Case, she's got some family medical issues going on, so unfortunately she wasn't able to be with us. But I do have my assistant lead, Sage Homza, and of course my son Alex with us.
That's awesome.
So with that in mind, I'll let Sage tell you a little bit about himself and go from there.
Cool. I've had it, Sage.
My name is Sage. I'm currently a military police officer. Growing up, ever since now, small child, always seen things, always heard things. Usually, pretty much lived in mostly haunted locations. Almost tormented as a child, and really kind of after I hit a certain age, got more intrigued than I did scared. Always been into the paranormal, and then when I was stationed my last command, I, as a patrol officer, got to see a lot of things and deal with a lot of things I definitely could not explain. Always wanted to be part of a paranormal team and did little investigations where I was stationed last, and then in high school and other kids did some investigations. So got out here in Virginia and sought out Joel and his team, and applied and they accepted me.
Awesome. So that's a pretty big step, though, coming out as a military police officer who obviously believes in the supernatural and the unexplained. It's kind of a... Isn't the military usually frown upon that? Taking a pretty big step there, aren't you?
A little bit. That's why as I should say, I guess, from this point on, everything that I say is in my own belief, nothing of the military, nothing of the government.
Mm-hmm.
It's also why I said military, not the branch, and not my last location. So I can't really give that information out.
Yeah, no, that's good. That makes sense.
We've
we
got
don't want you to
family.
hit with a court martial or something. That would be terrible.
Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a definite thing right there.
Absolutely.
So, Joel, what can you tell us some of your law enforcement encounters? Because I've heard a lot of law enforcement officers that have had encounters and experiences while on the beat. Can you tell us about some of the ones that stick out in your memory?
Yes, well, I do have one that's actually, didn't realize you guys did more than just ghost type stuff. But one crazy one that we had, I was over on one of our locations, and basically the whole area is nothing but trees and fields. Looking out, we have to do, obviously, patrols and such of the area that I was in. Looked up in the sky, and we had about 15 or so orange-colored lights that are in the sky, and just almost like a formation. We called it into our dispatch center, and other people in the area were actually calling it in. Local people, including our base, was calling it in, trying to figure out what it is. So the lights just start moving within sync of each other and then disappear after about 10 minutes. That was pretty crazy. I'd never seen anything like that myself until then.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
That would be pretty I don't know what I would do with myself.
I think I actually heard a story about that once on a I can't remember what the television show was, but I was watching it. The law enforcement, the entire call board, a bunch
Lit
of
up. There's
just
a few
lit up,
situations like that.
and they were constantly like getting these calls. I think it might have been in Maryland though. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
So
Okay.
go ahead.
Another big one I can tell you, the school at this Taos location, the base I was on had a very dark history, so to speak, from before we took it over. And the school itself was very well known to be haunted. And a lot of patrolmen didn't like to go in there. And especially at night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, we're doing patrols and find a door unlocked. I was going with a new individual who I was training, and found a door unlocked in the preschool, which was next to the main school itself. Go inside, called into dispatch and everything, and it sounds like footsteps, so I called them, I know someone might be in the building, and go through and get over to the back one room where they had computers set up. It would sound like somebody ran in their table and all the computers turned on, like somebody Mickey Mouse's.
Oh, jeez.
So we got this guy out. This was just 2 of us. Didn't know how many people were in there, what the situation was. So I called it. I had him down to one corner. I took the other until we got backup over there. And we went in, got the lights on the building. I couldn't find the lights to save my life, so that made it even worse. Pitch black building with just a flashlight. And so we get backup over there, go in, clear the whole place, at least the one side of it. The one side he didn't check because all the doors were locked. We heard a door slam and somebody started whistling. Well, everybody except for our 2 patrolmen who stayed just to watch for somebody to come the other direction, ran back there. There was nobody back there. So it kind of freaked us all out, didn't know what to think. So go over to the big school to check it and find one of the other doors over in the big school locked. So we were already waiting on the building manager to come lock everything up. And I had to use the restroom, so we had a restroom outside out there. So our patrol partner just keep an eye open, see if you see anybody. And if you do, make sure you stop them. It's 2:30 in the morning, nobody should be out there. So I'm using the restroom, and I start hearing him talking to somebody. And I come back out, and he's just sitting on one of the benches by himself. I'm like, what the heck, man? I told you to hold him there until I got out. I know I heard a conversation going on between both of them. But he swears he was not talking to anybody. There's nobody else there.
Oh, wow.
It freaked me out. I didn't know what to really think of that. And that was actually before I was told the place haunted.
That's a crazy story. I mean,
That's awesome.
One of the things we always hear about is ask officers about their experiences.
Yeah.
A lot of them won't come forward. They think, with I think we actually talked about with Sheila a little bit about this in one of our last interviews about being ridiculed potentially because you come forward. And it's really cool that you guys are willing to come forward and look into something that's, I still think even today is a little considered taboo. Like people don't really want to talk about it, or they think that you're just lying about something. And the vast majority of people, I believe, had some sort of an experience. It's just they'll write it off to any little thing in an attempt to not believe in it.
That's totally true. I had a conversation yesterday actually with I was out and about, just walking around town, and came in contact with this gal, and we had a conversation about her paranormal experiences and stuff like that. And it was one of those things where if I wasn't part of the show or didn't really portray to be interested in something like that, it was something that she would never talk about. It's like she's embarrassed about it. And most people feel that way. It's not a very common everyday conversation that you really have with somebody.
Well, I feel like it's becoming more common. But so, can you guys walk us through an average investigation from when you contact the person, or they contact you, and then how the investigation rolls out? I know most people have watched the Ghost Hunter show, but I'm not sure that's because the investigations I've been on before weren't totally like that.
Okay, well, first of all, we, as a team, I consider our team to be very professional in its nature. We deal mostly with residential hauntings. We get a lot of our cases given to us through paranormalsocieties.com. I'm not sure if you know who that is or not.
No, let's check that out.
A lot of these cases come through them. We are listed with them as one of the paranormal teams here in Virginia.
Okay.
We cover Virginia, parts of Maryland, North Carolina, and we will go further if have to be. But for right now, those are the only two places that we cover.
Okay.
To walk you through a normal investigation, sometimes it takes a couple, 3 weeks before we actually get a reply from the client, because I think there's this, as you put it, an old taboo where they don't want people to think that they are losing their mind. They don't want people to think they're absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Nor do they want people to think that they have to take medication because they think they're not crazy. It's really hard to relate to these folks that, okay, you're dealing with something unexplained, granted. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're crazy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're losing your mind, because you're not. This is something that does exist. Little is known about it. That's why we have research going on out there trying to find out what really goes on in the afterlife. What's actually out there? How does this all occur? Why does it occur? And a lot of times people just, I think you're right, they don't want to come forward because they don't want people to think that they're strange, I guess you could say. And two, a lot of people don't come forward too, especially when we contact them, because they are afraid that we're going to charge them a fee to come out and investigate. I don't believe that any paranormal team with any type of integrity would charge for such a thing.
Yeah.
Because that would be just like a doctor saying, okay, well, I can go in and remove this cancerous tumor. I can guarantee you that for $15,000 that it won't come back. Oh, I can't guarantee that. So for me to charge to go in, investigate, try to find a resolution for them, and say I can grant you your wish that it will never come back and charge you X amount of dollars, I can't do that. In good faith, I cannot do that, because that's taking money, in my opinion, taking money in a fraudulent manner, and I can't do that. I don't tolerate illegal things going on within my team, and nor will I stand for it, nor will I do it myself.
That's awesome. I've heard that from a lot of the investigators that aren't shady. They don't charge you nothing. I've come across some that do, and those are the ones I immediately just don't talk to.
It's to me it sounds, I understand that completely, because it's more about the search, trying to figure out what's going on and trying to see as much as you can and create a consensus of what's happening, bringing this information forward to everybody who's interested, instead of just saying, well, give me money, because then you're limiting yourself when you do that. When people who are amateur try to charge, they don't realize that they're hurting the people who are requesting, trying to figure out what's happening, bring the truth forward. They're injuring the entire community by doing this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I concur with that 100%.
So walk us through how a normal investigation would go. Interview-wise, you just call and say, hey, we heard you need some help. This is what we do. Have a talk, and then you're at their place. How does that usually happen? What do you guys usually do with that? What's your process?
I will let Sage walk you through that, because I do the initial contact over the phone or via email, and then I try to give it on to him and his co-partner that in crime that he has come along, which she wasn't able to be with us. That's Tiffany.
Okay.
But I'll let him walk you through getting to the residence, making contact, and then going forward.
Awesome. Cool.
So pretty much right off the bat, as soon as we get the information from the website that we use to prove different cases and such, as a Joel usually contact them right off the bat, kind of get basic information on what's going on, and then once they're ready, we'll do usually a conference call, and we'll record it so we have everything we need to go through. If you have to go through anything later on, lately it's just been me and Joel, and what we'll do is kind of get a brief history of the house, brief history of the family. Not that I usually put down anybody, not that I would, especially with paranormal stuff. I said grow up having it, but we do ask just for kind of some information to see, is there any mental history, anything of that nature. Again, what kind of stuff has actually happened in the house. Is there any children in the house? Is a big one because there is children in the house and they are in danger. That will definitely be cause of alarm, and we will work to get to the case quicker. So then after we do all that, we usually request the clients to take pictures for us of different locations of the home that usually have the most activity in them during the day and then at night. We request to usually take them in at least sets of 3 because, you take one picture, you might not get something you will in the next 2. I've actually had a lot of success from that. One of the last cases that we just did, Joel sent me the pictures from it and was going through them and actually had a very good face of what we believe to be a demonic entity in one of the windows.
Oh, wow.
And it freaked me out. It sent the Joel, and it freaked him out pretty good too.
I bet.
So from there, we usually send the pictures off to one of our psychics, and I'm actually a sensitive myself.
Okay.
So is Tiffany. So we'll go through, we'll kind of look at them, see what kind of vibe we're getting off of, what kind of feeling we're getting off of the pictures and of the home. Myself and Tiffany, we've been pretty accurate so far. So after that, we'll kind of make a determination of, not if it's a serious case, but if, when are we able to get out there? And I said, again, if there's a child or somebody specifically in danger, when's the soonest we can get out there? So we'll contact the client back, kind of figure that out. Day of investigation, usually we will go together in one vehicle to the location. And if it's something super close by, we'll take separate vehicles, but we'll meet before we go in the house and do some sort of prayer protection to protect ourselves from anything that could be in the house or be looking to harm us or the clients. Going from there, have a kind of tour of the home with the resident or with the clients. Usually have a voice recorder going, taking a camera through while the lights are all on, kind of getting an idea of everything sitting in the house. Had actually used it before where clients said something moved and went back and was able to prove that it actually didn't move. It was just client got scared and thought it did. We also use the EMF meters going through, kind of find some hot spots, figure out where he wants to have cameras or any kind of static cameras or static voice recorders. If we decide we want to use them, we'll set up our DVR system, go lights out, and then start doing some dark photography, IR photography, IR video sessions, and audio sessions with voice recorders doing CVPs. And after everything's done with that, depending on how we get a feeling with everything in the house, and if anything major happens, which we've had stuff from growls and scratches to hearing cabinet doors slamming on the second floor, first floor and on the second floor, all kinds of different stuff. We've seen shadows, heard voices. So going from there, if we feel that at that particular time we need somebody involved, we'll try contacting one of the psychics and seeing what their feeling is on it, and pretty much go back, go over the evidence over the next few days, and see where we're at, what we believe is actually there, and what our next course of action needs to be, whether it needs to be a psychic getting involved to help clear the house, or something we can do ourselves using sage, prayer, and dragon's blood, another type of herb that we use to go through and clear. That's pretty much it. You agree? I agree.
That's okay. So how long does a normal investigation usually last? Is it like from the time you're at the house, not from contact and research, but from the time you're
real quick, actually, before we continue on that, bro, I have a question that I should have asked first. I didn't think about. I noticed, like, in the shows, like Taps, they show up with their logo on the side. Do you guys try to avoid, like, logos or anything like that, so that way it doesn't, like, alienate the neighbors from the people? Do you try to show up, like, quietly, work quietly, that way the individuals don't have their lives interrupted in any way?
We usually do. Whenever we come in, we'll usually go in with maybe 1 or 2 boxes, if anything, and then, if we need more equipment, we'll go out and kind of grab it as we need it. But we try not to make, I don't say too much noise or too much of a big deal out of it. We We don't walk in and say, hey, we're here. We're the Ghostbuster. You know, we don't do anything like that.
You don't get a big sign, house ghost busted by my yard.
Like I said, we try to keep it as calm as possible. For some people, it's almost embarrassing for them. It's nothing to be embarrassed about at all. You know, this kind of stuff happens, but they do take it as kind of an embarrassment, and they're scared for people to know that it's happening because they're afraid they'll be ridiculed or be judged, and they shouldn't be. But because of that, we do try to be somewhat discreet on how it's going in and everything.
Okay. So. What?
Don't get us wrong. We do like to go out on our little entertainment trips and do a little bit of fun investigation just to keep our skills up to snuff. For instance, we are trying to get into Beaver Dam, Virginia. Residents out there built on part of, believe it or not, Patrick Henry's part of his plantation land that he owned back in the early 1700s. They've got some activity going on out there. They just want some validation. Nothing very serious, but it could be a very interesting historical type investigation. That's coming up here relatively shortly. We'll have another team involved with us on that one, simply because we have about 20 acres that we have to cover.
Oh wow!
Wow.
That would be.
That's an all hands on deck.
That sounds like the next episode you guys need to be up on.
Most definitely.
Well, it should be interesting because if you know anything about the Patrick Henry and his wife and family and so forth in the plantation there, the Scott, I believe it's called the Scotch House or something like that. Anyway, his wife back then, of course, was she passed away, and when she passed away, because of some things that she started emitting as far as behavioral mannerisms were concerned, of course, they kind of noted that as being demon possessed, I guess you could say. So she's buried somewhere out there by a lilac tree, and that'd be kind of interesting to find an unmarked grave if we could do that. I doubt that'll happen, but there's always that possibility. But we try to keep our skills in home. Some of us go out by ourselves to go do certain things. Some of us will go out with friends that are also interested in the same type of things, just to go out with them and have, kind of an entertainment evening, but also, you never know what you might find.
Yeah.
But getting back to the actual horror society is concerned, we try to keep things on a very serious nature. If there's children involved and we believe that we're dealing with a negative to a dark, or even possibly a demonic entity, we most certainly will even take a case on during the week.
Okay.
We will stay as long as we have to get some sort of determination of where we should go next and how soon we should do it.
Okay. So,
back to your question about the time, we try to get there between, at least for the last 2 months, usually done between 7:30 and 8:30. It's kind of a good time to set up. It's just getting dark, especially for summer months. And then we'll be out of there between about 2:30 or 3:30, maybe a little bit later. A lot of the paranormal shows, they're on TV talking about the witching hour. Yes, it is a great time, to do stuff, but at the same time, when you're inside of a residence, those residents usually start getting tired around 3:30 in the morning, and you got to kind of work with them as well. As with ourselves, 3:30 in the morning, we're also starting to hit that low point. We're starting to get a little tired, and usually ends up working out. So that's about 6, maybe 7 hours most. The investigation will last.
That's good. I like that. That's going to bed at some point is always a nice thing. So we had a question in chat for you. Have you guys ever come across someone who's just plain schizophrenic and not having an actual haunting that you've had to maybe help them find some other?
Yeah, we have 2 cases that we're dealing with. Well, we were dealing with that we questioned that. We had pretty good validation that things were no longer there. An individual, what I would call, I don't know if you guys know the term, but Munchausen syndrome.
Oh yeah, Munchausen by proxy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then it would, you guys do know?
Pardon me, last minute.
So basically, the whole concept of being that even after something is cured, or even not even having anything, it's just the attention that you get.
Yeah.
Is what you kind of seek. And that's really what at least we've kind of come to a conclusion with at least two people that we've had in the past. Things have definitely been cleared out. We've had verification by our psychics that things have been cleared out. And even had our team go in, verification of it, and the individual still really kept coming at us with, either I want exorcism, or I want this to happen, I want this to happen. They just kind of won't take the concept of, it is gone. It's just maybe it's you, but we don't want to tell, obviously, we don't want to tell them like that, because, it may not be necessarily good for their psyche if we tell them they're crazy.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that either, because as I said, people take things different ways.
Yeah, definitely. That's it's good that you guys are careful of that. I've been in situations where I've referred people to psychological help instead of spiritual help more than once in my time. So it can be tricky, especially if they've had prior activity and they've just, like you said, Munchausen, they've just glommed onto it and they love the attention that they get, and they manifest these things internally,
That's actually one of our psychics said, is one of the entities attached to the individual was because of his negativity and almost of his, I don't want to say love for having it, but the attention he was getting from it. That's partially why one of them would not go away. And I mean, I can't say it necessarily did or not, but that was probably one of the biggest issues with that individual. Is he just do not let go of the fact that we got rid of everything, but just the fact that him keep, believing that it's there was affecting him. His wife didn't ever have anything really happen to her.
I know.
But she didn't really believe much of it. So it was an interesting case.
Was there ever a case where you felt like you were immediately in danger whilst investigating?
I was immediately in danger. I actually have had this happen once where, actually, give you two stories here. Being a patrol officer and all, I had an incident where I had some doors slammed in my face, and actually, one of the first times I ever to do it, but drawing my weapon, believing somebody broke into one of our buildings, and kind of getting through that place, expecting somebody being in there to jump out at you, and nobody actually being there in the end. It's a little freaky. Kind of get that feeling like something bad's gonna happen. I don't know if you guys ever seen or any kind of paranormal show. I didn't really, don't believe in it, but until recently I kind of got it myself. But I had a case we were working on, and an individual was talking to spirit, and really, my friends were pissing it off pretty bad. We're using a ghost box, and I mean, I don't want to say it was funny, but it almost was. This dude's yelling at the thing at the ghost box, calling him all kinds of names and cussing him out. It was insane. Usually, ghost box, the whole concept being if it goes over multiple stations, that's not normal. It's got to be a spirit, and it was. It was calling him all kinds of names, and I was over in another room, and out of nowhere, I got really mad, and all I could think of was just beating the hell out of this guy. So, I walked out of the house, and that was probably the craziest one for me, because I wanted him.
So, someone asked in chat, have you ever come across something that was possessed, like an object, a book or toy or a chair of some sort that you felt, or do you buy into that concept?
It's less possession, more like
or
something was attached to the item, perhaps.
Personally, I do believe that. I used to watch a lot of Haunted Collector with John Zappis.
Oh yeah.
I believe in that concept, but I do believe there could be haunted objects, especially if there was a actual, say, just for example, if there was a murder at the house and the gun is burying the property, that gun actually being there still could be, at least in my opinion, contributing to the energy still at the home, if there's anything negative there. Personally, though, I never really came across anything, at least the cases that we've simply gone to, that would have led to that, but we have had a case that we had to get off to another team due to the fact that the drive for us is in about 9 hours, 10 hours to get out there. But there was a music box in the residence we believe was, I guess, kind of linked to a relative who was not very happy with the marriage involved. I do believe that could have been maybe part of the issue or part of the incident.
Yeah, we've done a couple episodes on haunted objects. We did the Annabelle, Robert the Doll, and we talked about the Dybbuk box not too long ago. And I mean, so, yeah, the Dybbuk box, the one that Zack Baggins bought. I really want to go and check it out. And I guess he opened it, or is going to open it. It's in his museum.
As far as right of mine, I think he's absolutely insane.
You gotta love it about him. He's so brass in his in the way he approaches things. Sometimes it's kind of entertaining. I don't know the guy, so I'm not gonna bash on him. I get a kick out of watching him. So now that said, we had another question earlier in chat that I want to touch on. Now that we've found that seg somehow, we were asked, what do you think about the paranormal shows? And not to like talk bad about somebody, but do you feel there's an amount of staged going on? Was the question, like how much do you feel is accurate and how much is staged? We know that.
There's a good amount of shows that I like. I'm not trying to push other shows away or anything. Like, I watch Ghost Adventures. I'm an electronic collector. There's different ones that I watch that I enjoy. I do know there's a huge incident a while back where, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ghost Adventures, but it was airing, was taken off the show for a little while due to a podcast or whatever it was where he said some of the stuff was staged. As a paranormal investigator myself, some of the stuff that you see on TV, you kind of look at and you're like, that's not even possible, or that's just a little dramatic. But I mean, I understand the concept of freaking out and wanting to run out of a place, or some of the things that you see or hear. Until you go through it, you kind of don't realize, I guess, some of the stuff that can happen.
Yeah.
The trouble is with a lot of those paranormal type shows, such as Ghost Adventures and some others, when they go to edit their show, of course, there's a lot of things they can't put in there because they just simply do not have the time.
Yeah.
Allotted on the show. So you really don't know if it's staged or whether it's raw material. One of the shows that I really like to watch, and I think it's fairly closer than anything I've really ever seen, is Paranormal Lockdown with Katrina Widman and Nick Groff. And then Most Haunted with Yvette Fielding over in the UK. I think those two there are probably, I would say, closer to raw material than anything else out there. But now, don't get me wrong, I'm a Ghost Adventures fan. Higgins, I like Aaron, I like Jay, I like the Charlie, I like all of them. They're all excellent investigators. But I think a lot of times there may be some extra curricular things that go into the editing that maybe makes it a little bit more dramatized.
Yeah.
Trying to say one thing off of what he just said with the whole time frame thing. Just for example, one of the last cases we did, that was probably one of the more active cases we had. I have probably over 200 EVPs just from one of my reporters, and that was about 4 hours worth of audio. I have stuff from anywhere from weird animal sounds, as crazy as that sounds, to a voice that says, I will see you in hell, to Joel's name being said, Tiffany's name, my name, things saying help me. So, I mean, that is a big issue, and it's unfortunate when somebody goes to shows. So I'm sure they probably get a lot of stuff that they can't put on there. And I do give them credit for that, especially some of these locations they go to. I know they have to be getting a ton of stuff.
Well, they gotta edit stuff out for sure. I mean, they're there for those guys do it overnight for a long distance because they usually clear the house out so they can be there until daylight. You can't fit that much into an hour spot. Plus the time in investigating, and what are their producers gonna let on? That's one thing I heard someone doing an interview where they were mad because they caught really good stuff and the producers just thought it was garbage, so they didn't put it on the show. It's gotta be frustrating.
Absolutely.
So. Yeah, it's different when when you guys are investigating, what do you do with the evidence afterwards? Do you bring it to the people at the place after you've done the investigation? Do you store it somewhere, archive it? I mean, how do you go about dealing with that in the end?
For the investigations, at least that we've done together and also have it all on a hard drive. I have everything separated to basically, so what I'll do is I'll go through. It takes forever to do, but I'll pull everything up on Audacity, and then I'll go through. I'll listen to everything, and whether it's 5-minute clip to I've had even an hour and a half, and that just drags on and on. But I'll write down times, and every time I hear anything, even if it's just a weird little noise, I'll still write it down, and I'll go back. I'll start going through everything, and I'll figure out which pieces are actually something, which pieces are okay. Maybe I just kicked something, or me talking, or me whispering, and so on and so forth. And then I'll pull it out of Audacity and turn it into a WAV file, audio file, and I'll save all the audio files in a folder, and I'll save the raw audio file into another folder. So we keep everything, and we have everything separated, and usually we will go back whenever we do the cleansing or whenever we recontact the client after the investigation, and we'll give them a pretty good idea of what we found. We'll give them kind of an understanding of what's going on. I mean, obviously, they're depending on the client themselves and how they react to some of the lighter stuff. Obviously, if they're already freaking out, almost in tears after they find out that we got somebody, or a kid whispering, or somebody saying, "Hello, I'm here," we're not going to tell them that we have something saying, "I'm going to see you in hell."
Right.
But we'll give them an idea of what we got.
Yeah, you don't want to needlessly freak them out if you can help them, though. I mean, I guess something like that would be the next step would be to say, hey, yeah, there's something here. We're going to send someone to help you. Or cleanse it yourself. I don't know how you guys go about your cleansings, but
I want to say to our fans real quick, everybody who's watching, thanks for, watching, being here. Please throw us a like and a share, and visit them too. It's a really long name, so.
Okay, and so guys, for those of you just joining us, because I know some guys just popped in a little late to the show, we're joined today with Joel, Sage, and Alex from the Virginia Beach Paranormal Research Society. I think I said that right. Supernatural Research Society. That's a very long name, Joel. Very struggling with that. But yeah, they've been kind enough to come on and talk about their investigations and stuff. So guys, enjoy the show. If you have questions, feel free to shoot them in chat.
Speaking of questions, I actually do have a question for you guys. I'm kind of curious on what has been your guys' favorite investigation so far?
Well, personally, I would say probably one of the last ones we just did. It's been a crazy one, and it's, to be quite frank, it's been a little bit of a headache because there's been a lot to it, more than just the paranormal issues there. But we've done a few, and the last one we did, we had about 200 EVPs roughly from that one voice recorder, and I had about 4 clips on that one. And we had a lot of crazy stuff happen. We had scratches on walls, we had cabinet doors slamming, we had shadow figures that we could see. Probably the most interference we ever had with technology too. That just drove me nuts more than anything. I got some really good pictures from that one. Take a picture of one stairwell, caught a red orb, took another picture, and the whole entire stairwell was lit up red.
Wow.
With the that one blew my mind. Yeah, that was probably one of my favorites, at least with the team. Personal ones, though, I did a few where I was last stationed. We'll leave it at that. Went to a abandoned hospital.
Uh-huh.
And the hospital had some not so nice people, leave it at that, who ran it. And they were more of a gang-related type thing, if that makes any sense. And that was pretty creepy. Didn't get too much off of it, but it was probably one of the most fun being able to go through there and kind of see everything with nothing really much left over. Did get one creepy place in the basement. We had a huge pit that was full of ashes, which knowing who was actually in charge of it, not being the city, kind of makes you wonder what those ashes really were.
Yeah, no
Absolutely.
kidding.
Like, I have to say, the one thing I have to say is, as everybody who watches the show knows, Jack ain't brave. Speaks about himself in the third party, but he sure doesn't want to go inside of any of these creepy places. I keep getting told I'm going to get dragged to hunt for Bigfoot, and I keep telling them, look, that's not happening.
Oh, no, you're going to go.
No, you're going.
You're going.
So how about some other great investigations? What I should have done, guys, I should have got you to send me some of your EVPs before we did it. I didn't even think about it. That would have been a great thing. We could put them on the show.
That was
You
one.
should still send over some pictures and be able to post them up on our page.
That was what. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We can do that with no problem.
Yeah, anytime you want to share evidence and stuff, I'm totally glad to have it hosted on the page. We'll keep it up indefinitely, and yeah, that'd be awesome.
Two things actually, real quick. The first thing, if you guys, I don't know if you're actually watching at the moment, but you can post in chat your link to your Facebook, your Twitter, things like that, if you'd like to. We don't mind. Self-promotion is something we shamelessly do too. The other thing is about EVPs. I've noticed a lot of shows that I've seen, and even like amateurs who take EVPs, they get these sounds that are like, it just sounds like maybe someone grunting, and then they find these words in them that, and the problem with that is, I'm wondering if you keep those kind of things, because people will put into your head the idea like someone saying hello or saying something out of the ordinary being said in the area, but it's really just like a grunting noise that, honestly, if you listen and you don't have a suggestion.
So you're asking what their litmus test is to judge if it's a real EVP or just sound?
So for me, like I said, I keep pretty much everything. Now, whether I take that whole grunting sound to heart or not is a different story. What I usually do is, we got a few people on the team, we'll usually meet up somewhere within a week or so afterwards. We'll go over a lot of EVPs. And some of the ones that I'm not sure on, we tell them, okay, I don't know about the EVP. What do you guys hear? If they hear the same thing I do, then, we'll go with, maybe I was right. Some of the stuff that sounds like they're grunting in that, I actually have had luck in the past, and they sound kind of crazy. But I usually kind of get it more with the cases that usually roam more on the darker demonic stuff. Slowing things down and even reversing, as crazy as that is, it actually gets you some good stuff. For example, I had where I was stationed last, I did some EVPs while I was on shift. I had a voice recorder. I went and did my road and left the voice recorder there. Nobody else was out there, so just me, myself, and I. I asked questions. And one of the responses back I couldn't understand what it was. And I did a reverse of it. And I actually got a response that, trying to say I'm giving away everything here, right? A response of who was there at what time, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind. It was the pronunciation, because it was a different language and everything. It blew my mind. I could not get over it. And like I said, you just kind of got to manipulate a little bit. I don't want to say manipulate as in like change them in a way that takes them to raw form or anything like that. But if you slow certain things down, you speed them up. You may get you may actually get what it is. Some of the stuff that I said, we got some growling and stuff before that I slowed down, and you actually get what sounds like a almost demonic voice saying something. But just in normal audio tone, you get what sounds like just a long, drawn out, just roar. And I tell you what, for the people who are watching who've never heard a demonic growl before, I tell you what, it's not something you've ever heard before. It's not going to sound like an animal. It's not going to sound like a human can make. There's going to be something that sticks to you. It is probably one of the creepiest things you'll ever hear. I've been growled at multiple times, and it gives me chills, and it freaks me out every time.
That would be something great for you to send over for the show.
Absolutely. It really would.
Because I've heard things like that.
Yeah, I can do that.
That would be awesome.
Well, it seems like lately, a lot of the cases that I've been given to look into ended up being, in my mind, being close to a very dark type case. You were talking about like Robert the Doll and items that might have attachments that are haunted. I have a client that I had contacted and had contact with, let's put it that way. They were having some activity in the home. She sent me some photographs as I requested, and sent them off to the psychic. Psychic in turn wanted to know what they were doing with these dolls. These dolls were creepy, and they looked like they had attachments. And anyway, I told the client, I said, well, why don't you some reason, the psychic is saying those dolls are not worthy to be in your home, and they very well could be part of the problem.
Ooh.
So we did an experiment. Unbeknownst to me, they were evicted. They haven't found a new place to live. They got rid of the dolls, and everything has ceased.
Huh.
I've never quite heard of anything quite that quickly gone, but if that stands true, then when they move into their new place here within the next week or so, hopefully, if things don't ramp up because of something else they brought in, they should be okay. But they do stay in contact with us, and so far, so good.
That's good to
Nice.
hear.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
something creepy about dolls. I don't know what it is, man.
Yeah, I don't.
There's something unsettling. I'm a grown man, and I'm scared of sharks, but dolls are right there. I'm not scared of them, but there's always something.
Mine's the focus dummies. I don't do the focus dummies.
Hey, so what's your favorite pieces of equipment? Everybody has. I'm a gearhead, so what's each of your favorite piece of gear that you guys use?
Honestly, probably the Ghost Box. It's probably gotten us a decent amount of evidence. I mean, obviously, if you want to, I guess, really go for it, I mean, the camera and the voice recorder are really, in a paranormal sense, your best friends. They're going to be the things that get you probably the most evidence, and the most hard evidence, I should say. But when it comes to the Ghost Box, we've had so much luck with it, and I have my own SB7. Joel has an SB11 and an SB7 Ghost Box, but we've gotten some crazy stuff with them. And as I said, with the last guy one of the last guys we were dealing with, and I told you he was arguing back and forth with the thing. Just some of the stuff that it says is insane. And I'll give you an example. So I'm a very spiritual person. I'm Catholic. I believe in St. Michael, St. Mary, and all, Mother Mary, and all that kind of stuff. And we were up in the house, and I left, and I came back up. As soon as I walked in the room, it called me a not so nice name. And I said, "Oh, you should call me that," and it said, "Yeah." So I said, "Fine, when you want to attack the owner," so I actually pushed him. I was standing right next to him, and he almost fell into me. And so I asked him, why don't you attack me? And I said, "I can't." And I said, "Why not? Is it something that is protecting me, like somebody protecting me? Is it, like somebody have like a ward over me, or is it an angel?" And it comes across as Michael.
Okay.
And it blew my mind. I mean, I've always, I pray to St. Michael a lot. I always ask for his protection. It's my patron saint. I baptize and confirmed Catholic. And I believe there's a lot of validity to it. And I believe it's one of the, and I won't say newer, but probably one of the newer technologies that are out there now for ghost hunting. It really, I think, is very useful, and it needs to continue to be explored to kind of figure out how exactly everything works with that. Because it's just absolutely amazing.
You gotta love the Shack Hack, man. For those who are viewing that don't know what we're talking about, the Ghost Box or the Shack Hack or the Frank's Box, someone figured out how to make it so it consistently scans the radio station. And sometimes you'll get jarble, but often you'll get when you're communicating with something supernatural. And we have a viewer who actually has shared some of his experiences with his Ghost Box with us. What'll happen is the radio stations will pick up in different orders and spell and say words that shouldn't be there. Actually, one of the better ones I heard was on Beyond the Darkness, Dave Schrader's show, and Tim Dennis. Big fan of those guys. They have a great podcast. Schrader was actually using a Ghost Box and actually got something so profane it shouldn't have been on the radio. So.
Yeah. Well, that's what we were having with this last guy. I mean, it was dropping all kinds of words that, obviously I'm assuming it's a family friendly show. I'm definitely not going to say. But,
we're all grown-ups here. It's okay. We'll let one slip.
Put on there. And it was cussing me out. It was cussing Alex out. Cussing the dude out. The client. I mean, it blew my mind. I mean, we even did an experiment with Tiffany. And it was close to the beginning of the investigation. We didn't mention Tiffany's name really out loud. And she wherever she goes in, usually I don't think she stays by herself. Usually she kind of sits back a little bit and just kind of watches and
kind of tries getting a feeling of the house itself. And so she's a very good sensitive. We have a pretty good connection ourselves. We've been very good friends for about 4 years now.
If you want a lot of activity, get Tiffany and Sage together. They're just like a magnet opposite polarity.
Yeah, it's a good experiment. And she sat down and she said, okay, what's up to talk is, what's my name? And it wouldn't say it. So she said, okay, fine. How about I start saying names and you tell me if it's my name? So she said about 5 different names, and every time she'd say the wrong name, they'd call her a liar.
Oh, nice.
And she said one of her nicknames that she used to have back when she was in school, and once she said the nickname, I actually repeated it to her.
Oh, wow.
And it said me. And it was absolutely insane, the intelligence of the spirit. And that's also why I believe we actually had what I would consider a demonic spirit there, knowing that it actually knows her name. Unfortunately, I think a lot of the cases we're going to come up against in any paranormal team, and this is kind of a warning to any people that are out there who want to dabble with the paranormal, be very careful in what you do and what you talk with. And unfortunately, as I said, a lot of this stuff lately has been demonic, and it's going to continue to be that way. I mean, things in the spiritual fight, if you want to put it that way, are increasing. And I know back in the last year or two, I want to say it was California, they just had one of the biggest black masses ever conducted in the United States. So there are people out there who are focusing on the negative side who are ramping things up.
Yeah.
So the ultimate, fight of good versus evil is occurring today, and it is getting worse, and things are going to start picking up.
Now, if I could interject something here myself,
Of course.
for those listening, if you're dabbling with the Ouija board, stop.
Oh, Jack loves his Ouija board, don't you, Jack? Oh, man.
You do not know how to close the door before you leave the Ouija board. You're going to leave a portal wide open. Beware.
And that's actually 2 of our past cases, we believe, have a very good possibility of that being what started everything in their home.
Oh, wow.
And Ouija boards, any kind of, no offense to me, does this kind of stuff. Be very careful with tarot readings, any of that kind of stuff. I'm a firm believer in psychics and things like that, but not to sound mean, but a lot of that stuff, leave it to people who are, I can't say necessarily professionals, but know exactly what they're doing. Because if you don't, you could be opening yourself up to a world of hurt.
Yeah, definitely.
That's how The Exorcist began.
Exactly. That's how the true story, the boy that the actual Exorcist movie was based off of. That's what happened with him. His mother was trying to get something from him, from her dead sister, was using the Ouija board, and it was not a good, pleasant story. You guys should look up the real story of the Exorcist if you don't know it already. It's,
Actually, I have. Actually, what's really weird about that is I go back to Kansas at least once a year. I have children that live in Wichita, Kansas, so I go through St. Louis quite a bit. The last trip through St. Louis, mind you, I had in mind to go see the house. I wanted to drive by it. I wanted to go take pictures of it. And I wanted to get as close as I could to the entry door. But time did not allow me to do that this last trip. And so I was unable to. But I did find out that the gentleman that was the little boy in question on that exorcism still lives and is alive. He's 81 years old and still resides in the St. Louis area. However, he will not even speak about the incident.
The very few times he has spoken about it, the story is that he just doesn't remember it, doesn't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's as far as it ever goes. Which I can't blame him, because if you read the actual diary that accounted what happened, mortifying for a child, for an adult, but for a kid, all over money is what it was really about. It was crazy. It was just the weirdest story, guys.
Being actually possessed in a situation like that, I cannot imagine. I've actually been, I've been scratched, I've been poked, stuff like that, which is the more modern stuff. But I actually have had a one-on-one, so to speak, with the demonic entity before, where long story short, ended up waking up and had a demonic entity standing over top of me or over me.
Ooh.
Got choked out, and an individual who was in the rack underneath me told me that I was shaking violently. He was, I guess you could consider sleep paralysis. Knew something was out there. Couldn't help me. And I said he heard me gasping for air. When I finally was able to get out a bit of a prayer, a Lord's prayer, the entity did actually end up disappearing. I thought maybe, it's a dream. I jumped up, freaked out, went to the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and I saw fingerprints on my throat.
Ooh.
And I scared hell. I still remember about it, and I can't forget any part of it. So just, for people who go through that stuff, I cannot imagine.
Yeah.
Dealing with that kind of. That was what I had probably as minor with what they consider an attack they receive every single day. And again, I said it already once, and with the Ouija boards, and even with the stuff with the whole Charlie, and I know there's something new that just came out with you drawing on paper and drawing all these weird symbols and stuff. Very, very careful with that kind of stuff. Even just saying the names of some of the entities and the demonic itself, things do have power just in the name. And to kind of give you an example, with the set of The Exorcist in the actual movie, there was a lot of things that happened on the set. The girl, I watched a documentary about this a while back. The girl ended up having a back injury on the set. The set caught fire. The priest actually died. I can't remember if it was in the middle of the movie or it was afterwards. He actually fell down the stairs. The priest that had in it and actually died.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that happened off of those movies, and there's tons of movies out there based off true stories like The Exorcism. Same thing with the Conjuring movies. I know there's a lot of stuff that's come off of those. There are people which, it could just be claims for fame, kind of stuff like that. But I do believe some alluded to, there are people who've actually watched the second Conjuring, being that they actually say the actual name of the demon and the accuracy of it and everything, who have had terrible things happen in their house after watching it.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. Well, anytime you bring the Warrens into it, things get a little spooky.
That they do.
That was.
For anybody who wants to have a good read, I'm not a reader myself. Back when I was on patrol, I had plenty of time where I was listening to audiobooks. I actually downloaded Lorraine Warren's book. And it is a great book to hear or read. And it goes through his stuff with the Annabelle doll and the Cavin that goes through a ton of different cases, touches up on the Amityville case a little bit. It's a great read, great reader, great listen, if you want to say.
Yeah, no, I have a couple of the Warren books, and there's just some really interesting beyond, doesn't do it any justice. The things that because we've talked about the Warrens a couple times before, especially when we did the Annabelle thing, and they encountered so much, and they've documented so much. It's like, yeah.
It's helped solidify my desire not to go ghost hunting.
Oh, don't worry, we'll make a trip to their house, their museum.
Oh, spectacular.
You can tap on Annabelle's glass.
Oh, that's.
Hey, I'm not Zack Baggins. I'm not going to open the Dybbuk box in my museum. I want to be there, though. I really do.
Most definitely.
But I'm protected. I'm not too worried about it.
I actually have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
So I'm a horror movie buff myself, so don't get me wrong. I still love them. I still always watch them. But do you guys think that some of the issues that are happening right now with the increased paranormal and some of the demonic cases, do you guys think that it does have to deal with the media and some of the movies that are being released and the whole concept of, let's get in there, let's do these ghost hunts, let's go into the haunted house and screw around with Ouija boards. Do you guys think that the movies and some of the shows, I should say, are actually increasing some of the stuff that's going on?
Actually, I kind of have an opinion on that. I think it's much like a lot of things. In this particular instance, I've noticed that paranormal has kind of picked up people who are looking into it, who are investigating it. I think the thing is this might have been happening all along, and it might have been large scale. But I think with the increased popularity of it through like media and just amateurs looking around, there's more people looking, and they're just finding all of the stuff that was hidden previously. I don't think it's necessarily new so much as it's just more people who've looked, and therefore there's more of a light upon it now. And so now more people can see into that dark area, because previously it was taboo and no one ever wanted to talk about it.
Well, off and on. I mean, definitely with shows, the proliferation of like reality ghost hunting shows and like shows like Destination Truth and things like Josh Gates does, where you're going and trying to find the unexplained, more mainstream, people are starting to get more comfortable with the idea they don't know what's really going on around them. They're starting to pick up more, I think, on what was already happening. Like, people are starting to see more shadow figures. I've been seeing them forever. They never bothered me, but they've always been there. It's just I've noticed them and other people might not have. Until now, their eyes are opened a little bit to what's really going on around them, and it's starting to become more, more acceptable. Maybe is the word I want to look for. It's like the big spiritual boom back in the day.
Yeah.
So I think that's.
Back in the day, he said he saw figures. She would probably get put into a psych ward.
True, very true. Well, of course, back in the day, if you heard from God, they just listened to everything you said. So, I mean, I think it goes back and forth with things. I think that the world all over the place is in a huge state of turmoil. Not that it hasn't been forever, but it always seems like every time there's a precipice of just chaos around you, there's a spiritual awakening of some fashion, whether it be of religious revival or just trying to get deeper answers. And with science not really giving us much anymore, it's kind of stagnated. Their arguments now are, well, we're having to reword everything. Even scientists are starting to get more into the paranormal and unexplained.
Oh, yeah.
Like people are starting to believe in the repeating apparitions or the energy, the residual hauntings that go on, because now you can quantify, okay, well, the energy is still around. Everything has energy and disperses energy. It's got to go somewhere.
Well, that being said, along with what I said, the thing is, I kind of agree with you a little bit on the instance that maybe with this becoming more mainstream media, more people getting interested in paranormal, more people are opening doors. More people are opening up.
Accidentally, maybe.
Accidentally leaving things open, and stuff just happens to find those doors and get in. And maybe that's what's increasing things, is people are messing with things they don't understand.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about knowing what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
And if you don't, and you watch a show like, Ghost Hunters, which I love the shows, guys. I have nothing against any of these guys. They're very cool, very entertaining at very least, but they find a lot of cool stuff. Well, I think when people go out and look for things they don't understand, they find trouble a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's something that one of the past cases we just had, the individuals went to a cemetery to start kind of doing their own investigation and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of people, I see this a lot, and people having attachments and such, going to cemeteries with Ouija boards. That kind of stuff, you're asking for trouble, and they're, I agree with what most of you guys said. It is probably all mostly been there, and it's more now, it's just they kind of open their eyes to it. But it really is an issue of, I think as well, that people are getting into things they don't realize they're getting into, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally. I totally agree with you.
The wrong stuff.
Well, it's like, you guys know, military and law enforcement guys. I did martial arts and studied self-defense stuff my whole life, basically. And one of the first things you learn is you're not going to get a fight. You're not going to have to defend yourself if you stay away from situations where you're going to get in a fight. It's like, avoid the trouble, and you're not going to find the trouble most of the time. I mean, sure, other things do happen, but overall, I mean, if we're not looking for it, we're not going to find it. Usually. Sometimes it finds you, but it seems like...
I can definitely say it'll find you. We had an incident, again, back on patrol, had a unlocked door, go through the building, heard voices and stuff, couldn't find anybody in there, get to the back of the building, and talking to my partner, trying to figure out where everything's going. I see on my corner eye, I didn't know what it was. He takes off running, screaming, stop, get back here, stop. I go out, I take a right, he takes a left. And there was no way to get out of that building. I go straight out the door, I look around, there's nobody there, coming right behind me, locked the deadbolt. So whoever's in there is in there with me and another guy. We called in, we ended up having at least 8 people out there, 8 extra patrolmen out there.
Oh, wow.
And could not find a single thing, had people going, driving around there, we were looking for it, had Canine in there. Canine was freaked out. I mean, the dog was acting weird. You tell something was going on. I had the person who was up in charge of me, had him all kinds of freaked out. He didn't even want to be in there. So it will find you, especially if you're in a law enforcement capacity.
Well, again, though, you also put yourself in a job where you're going to have to encounter things most people wouldn't have to.
Yeah. Well, actually, I had a question real quick about, I read a little bit about this, and I'm curious if like in these shows like Zach Bagans, I like Ghost Adventures, but they do a lot of agitation. They get kind of aggressive, and they threaten. And I'm curious if maybe there was a demon out there, and if it was just kind of haunting its location, they wound up making it very mad, and now it's exploring and doing bad things because it's angry.
Here's the thing on this. Do not put something off if you don't know what it is. It's trying to rip it back and bite you. I personally value my life to don't get thrown out a window or down the stairs because that will happen. How powerful you are, you can't see them, you can't fight back, you will get what you ask for.
Let me think. Look, this guy sitting next to me here. How should we put this nicely? And you would think he was inviting whatever it is that he's talking or trying to communicate with at the OK Corral. They've got those 6 guns drawn, and he's ready to charge hell with a spurt gun, so to speak. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, boy, you better back up. And even the psychic has told me, he says, you need to keep those two apart. You need to keep him, he needs to quit agitating so much. So, Sage is an agitator himself. Don't let him fool you.
I try not to. I do get stuff sometimes when certain things start happening. I'll admit it. I do get a little bit hot-headed. I start hearing things slamming or start attacking the client or stuff like that. But it's not. I'm like, I'm standing here. Why are you attacking me?
Zack Bagans and his crew, I think he does a lot of agitation.
Yeah.
I really do. But I like Zach. I've never met him face to face. I would love to meet the whole crew. I think it'd be awesome as all get out to even be, rub elbows with them just for 5-10 minutes. Because I'm sure there's a lot that could be learned from them. I'm sure there's a lot that could be learned from a lot of the paranormal teams groups out there that do the paranormal shows. For instance, the Ghost of Shepherdstown, Nick Groff and what's the girl's name? Nick Groff. Wow, I just got through watching that series. Anyway, I was going to take a drive up to the Skyline Drive over here by Charlottesville here not too long ago, and I was going to go on up into Shepherdstown, to look around just to see, because I know they're up there, or we're up there, recording and doing investigations up there still presently yet today, because they still haven't, I guess they still haven't cleared everything that is currently still going on, obviously. But again, like I say, Ghost Adventures crew, Paranormal Lockdown, some of the other ones that are out there. I'm really huge fans of them, and I watch them even though some of it might be a little bit added to, if you will, which makes it more interesting. I'm not going to lie. But I think that a lot of what Zach and the crew do, what they do come in contact with is real. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
There's one thing I will say about Zach and Aaron, for those who are not. Yeah, I watch the show religiously. I think, every single season on Amazon, and I still download every episode when it comes out. I love the show, and they're a good team and all that. So there's some stuff where you kind of are like, not sure, but at the same time, you can't. I definitely won't judge because I've been in that spot where people kind of think you're a little crazy and some stuff. So he does actually go and have cleansing done on himself. He does go and see different people, try to help him with all the negative energy that surrounds him after some of these cases. Now, some people may have noticed, but Aaron has not ever had a cleansing done and has never actually done anything after the investigations to help himself within his spiritual energy. was watching Aftershocks one day and we were talking about it. And I know Aaron is also one of the ones who's taken the most hits, so to speak, when it comes to his family and everything else that's been going on with him. I think it has to do with that. So, and for those who do want to get into paranormal and those who are currently doing it, make sure you guys are doing if you guys believe in praying, you guys believe in a God, you have a certain faith, do your prayers, do your stuff, ask God for help in clearing anything that's with you. If you guys have a psychic clear, you guys do your cleansings, do spongings in your own home after investigation and stuff like that to keep things away. Because as I said, Zack has obviously had stuff happen to him, but Aaron has hit a massive amount of things have to happen to him. He's gotten a blunt of a lot of the stuff.
That's never.
Yeah, I mean, doing something like that, especially since he gets left alone all the time to do the really dumb stuff,
Right.
and the really worst parts, not spiritually cleansing afterwards, not trying to protect your family and yourself. That's just, and you believe in this stuff. That's just like it sounds like he's asking for just bad things to go with him and mess with him.
Explained. He's actually part of an experiment as far as like what they explained to see how everything would happen. But I'm sorry, but for some of the stuff that I've had happen, some of the investigations and that, I would not be somebody's experiment. That's asking too much. That's putting your life in too much danger.
Yeah.
So that is a real thing, with these paranormal stuff. People kind of sometimes laugh it off, but I'm not saying I'm stepping out on the battlefield, so to speak, but at the same time, there is a bit of danger going into any of these homes, whether it be just a minor attachment, that's just somebody being fully possessed, or, as I joked about, seriously getting pushed down a set of stairs. It can't happen.
Yeah. So that stuff, man, there's some crazy stuff. I mean, guys, we're getting a little long on time. Thank you for being on. I hate to cut it short because it's been great. I would love to have you guys on again. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
It was a great show.
Next time we can get a few more investigators together.
That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
that'd be
And next
great.
time I'll make sure that beforehand I actually get some of your EVP and audio and stuff and set it up on the program so we can actually play it with a hot button. So you can go through maybe another good investigation, walk us step by step. And I definitely want to see what happens after you guys do your big investigation coming up.
That'd be really cool.
Was it Beaver Dam? Is that what you're doing? Is that what it is?
Yes.
That would be awesome. I'd love for you guys to come on and do an episode where you go and talk about what transpired there. That'd be great.
All right, we will get that together, and as soon as we have everything, and as soon as it is complete, we will get back in touch with you.
That'd be so cool.
Perfect.
Do you want to tell our viewers where they can find you guys, like follow you on Twitter and stuff like that?
You can find us on Twitter at VB Supernatural. We're on Twitter at that name. You can find us on YouTube, the Virginia Beach Supernatural Research Society. We do have a page on YouTube where we do post some EVPs and some videos. However, I've not been keeping up with that. I've been slacking off and working too much overtime.
Sounds like another host that I know.
So I'm sure you guys know how that goes. And then as far as website is concerned, by all means, I have a link there to my YouTube as well. It's htt://DABCH Supernatural Research Society.weebly.com. And if you want to go on there, feel free to do so. And if we've got listeners out there that live in the Virginia Beach area as well as Virginia, and you're listening in, and you have a problem, unexplained activity going on in your home, please feel free to contact us there. We have a contact page as well.
Perfect.
That's awesome. Guys, thank you again for being on the show. We hope to hear from you guys soon.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, I'll talk to you soon. Yep.
Have a good one, you guys.
Have a good one.
Yeah, that was great.
That was a good show.
Those guys are awesome.
That.
Those guys are great. So yeah,
They're brave. I mean, I would never. I know you guys are going to try to force me to, and I know what's going to happen eventually is all the fans are going to be like, exactly what Bridget just said. Jack has to leave the field team.
no, because they'll be going in the opposite direction of the paranormal activity.
We'll be in a field somewhere else.
Great. It's going to be amazing.
So guys, hey, those guys are awesome. We're going to link up their stuff later. If you live in that area or you know someone's having encounters in that area and could use their help, we're going to link them all up and you can find them. and get
Absolutely.
a hold of them and let us know if you need help. Maybe we can get a hold of them for you. So that was the Virginia Beach Supernatural Research Society.
Hey,
Yeah.
good job.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
it
actually
was
got
great.
it this time. You did
Um,
it. You did it.
Perfect. Now we actually know there's a resource online that you can find possibly in your area or by state
What was
resource.
that? What was that resource?
I have no idea.
See, this is what happens when he doesn't pay attention.
Paranormal Society?
I'm gonna link that up too on the page soon.
We'll get
All
you
right,
guys.
guys. It's been a great show. Thank you for watching and all the shares. We love that. It helps us indefinitely.
Please
Don't
keep sharing.
forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Vanishing Gates. If you have paranormal stories or unexplained encounters, Bigfoot sightings, UFO sightings, I mean,
Just
any
leave
of
the
that.
Dog Man and the MK
Ouija
Ultra to
board
yourself.
stories. No, you can share. Just email us at vanishinggates@gmail.com and let us know. And if you want us to, we'll be glad to read it live on the air.
That's
And
with 2 G's, you guys.
In Vanishing.
And Vanishing Gates.
And we are going to try to bring more people on for more interviews.
We do have more lined up. We're just getting them more set in stone. So guys, it's super awesome to have you guys here. Oh, there you go. In chat there, Sage put it up for you. So
Thank you,
that's a
Sage.
good link to follow. Thank you, Sage. You guys have been awesome. Thanks for watching. As always, I am your host, Jay, and with me is
The Fulfilled Jack.
and
Fuck.
guys, have a great night, and we'll see you again next week right here on Facebook Live, because that's where we're doing it now until we buy more equipment because I'm cheap.
Bye, Vanishers.
Guys, see you next Saturday at 7.
Goodbye, everybody.
Love you.